I just finished this book, and I've been lying in bed, staring at my ceiling, unable to turn my brain off. I kept seeing Fourth Wing everywhere. Book Talk, Bookstagram, every corner of the internet. And I kept putting it off because, I don't know, I thought I knew what it was going to be. I didn't know anything. So, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, Book 1 of the Empyrean series, fantasy romance with dragons. And I know how that sounds. Dragon riders, enemies to lovers, military academy setting. It sounds like a checklist of tropes, right? Like someone threw Book Talk favorites into a blender. But here's what I wasn't prepared for. Rebecca Yarros doesn't play it safe. She uses every one of those tropes, and then she makes them cost something. People don't just face danger in this book. They face consequences. And that changes everything about how it reads. Violet Sorngale is 20 years old. Her entire life, she's been trained to become a scribe. Books, knowledge, archives, safe, protected. And then her mother, who is basically a ruthless general in this world, decides, no, actually. Violet's going into the Rider's Quadrant instead. She's going to bond with a dragon or die trying. Here's the thing that makes this land. Violet's body doesn't work the way other people's bodies do. She has a condition that makes her physically fragile in ways that are very real and very specific. The book doesn't sugarcoat this. She was supposed to be a scribe because the Rider's Quadrant has a body count. About 15% of candidates don't survive to graduation. Don't survive. So I went in expecting, you know the story, right? Fragile girl overcomes physical limitations through determination and love. That's the comfortable version. That is not this book. So here's what cracked something open in me about this story. Violet is not physically strong. That never changes. But her mind? Her mind is extraordinary. She's strategic. She notices things other people miss. She adapts. She outthinks. And the book makes it absolutely clear that this is her power. Not muscles, not magic she shouldn't have. Her brain. There's this moment early on, I won't spoil it, but she channels power for the first time. And it's described in this way that's like an explosion of potential she always knew was there. Like she was always capable of this, and the world just hadn't let her prove it yet. I put the book down after that scene. I sat in the dark for a while. Because I kept thinking about how many stories tell girls their bodies are their limits, and this one just refused. And then there's Xaden. I have feelings about the romance. A lot of feelings. He's dangerous. He's marked by his family's history. He's morally complicated in ways that actually matter to the plot. But here's the thing. He doesn't fall for Violet because she's pretty or because he wants to save her. He falls for her because she challenges him. She doesn't take his crap. She calls him out. She's his equal in the ways that matter. There's this scene where he's teaching her something and his hands are on her face, thumbs just barely stroking under her ears. And it's so intimate. Not sexual. Intimate. Like he's seeing her in a way no one else does. I felt that in my chest. The slow burn is earned. Genuinely earned. When the kiss finally happens, there's a literal storm around them. Thunder, snow. And it doesn't feel cheesy. It feels like the world is reacting to the force of what they're feeling. It's not just chemistry. It's power. But here's what impressed me most. Violet loves Xaden. That's real. But she doesn't forgive him just because she loves him. When he betrays her trust, she protects herself. She's not a doormat. She's strategic about her heart, too. And I respect that so much.
And then there's Liam. If you've read this book, you know. I'm not going to spoil it. But there's a moment where the tone of the entire story shifts, where you realize this isn't just romance with danger for flavor. This is a war story. Death isn't a threat that gets conveniently averted. It happens. It costs something. It leaves a wound that doesn't heal just because the plot moves forward. I wasn't ready for that. I thought I was reading one kind of book, and then I was reading something else entirely. Something with real teeth.
Let me talk about the craft for a second, because I think that matters here. Rebecca Yarros writes with this sharp, functional prose that never shows off. It just serves the story. Violet's internal monologue feels like talking to a real person, conversational and modern, even in a medieval fantasy setting. And when Yarros wants to be gorgeous, she deploys it strategically. The descriptions of Xaden, the intimate moments, those get the beautiful language. Everything else stays clean and fast. And the structure is relentless. Chapter 1 establishes the stakes with a death. Chapter 14 delivers this dragon moment that shifted something in my understanding. Chapter 22 has the kiss and the channeling scene. And by chapter 36, everything you thought was stable is falling apart. Each escalation feels earned. You can't breathe. Even the quiet moments are charged because you know something worse is coming. The book never lets you settle. I came from literary fiction. I wondered if this would do character work at the level I'm used to. And honestly, it exceeds it in some ways. Violet is fully realized. Xaden is genuinely complex. The side characters, Rhiannon, Liam, Mira, Garrick, they feel like real people with real stakes. When bad things happen to them, it matters. And the world building, dragons, Venin, Wyvern, the rebellion, the political secrets, it all feels lived in without being over-explained. Yarros trusts you to figure things out through context. That's smart writing. So do I have criticisms? Let me think about this honestly. The relentlessness. If you need your books to give you moments to breathe, to settle into comfort, this might feel exhausting. The pacing is intentional, but it's intense. I loved it, but I can see how some readers might want more rest between the storms. And the ending. This is going to be controversial. The ending is not a conclusion, it's a reveal. The central tension between Violet and Xaden isn't resolved. They love each other, but she doesn't trust him yet. And they have to fight a war together while emotionally guarded. Did I want more resolution? Absolutely. Did the lack of it make me need book 2 immediately? Also yes. So maybe that's the point. Content note. People die in this book. Genuinely. Not as threats that get averted. The violence has consequences. The grief is real. If that's hard for you, know what you're walking into. Here's where I land on Fourth Wing. This is a masterpiece of character-driven fantasy romance. The stakes are real. The romance is complex and earned, and Violet Sorrengail is the kind of protagonist who makes you believe that intelligence and strategy and protecting yourself aren't weaknesses, they're power. I'm still tender from this one. My chest still feels tight when I think about certain moments, and I'm going into book 2 completely unguarded. That's rare for me. To let a book in this far? 9.5 out of 10. The only thing keeping this from a perfect 10 is that cliffhanger ending leaving me desperate for the next book, which might be exactly what it was designed to do. Who will love this? Anyone who wants fantasy romance with genuine stakes, readers who love character-driven narratives, people who appreciate morally complex characters navigating impossible situations, anyone who thinks romance is more interesting when both people have agency and boundaries. If you love N.K. Jemisin or Lee Bardugo, give this a chance. Who might struggle? If you need constant safety for characters you love, this will hurt. If you prefer cozy fantasy romance over high-stakes survival, it leans hard into the danger. If you need closure at the end of book 1, the cliffhanger will frustrate you. But if you want a book that treats you like you can handle real emotion and real consequences, this is it. I'm going into Iron Flame with my walls down. Whatever happens next, I'm ready to feel it. If you've read Fourth Wing, come find me in the comments. I want to know if it landed the same way for you. And if you haven't read it yet, maybe give it a chance. The hype is real on this one. Thanks for being here.